Hey everyone, welcome back to Wrench and Wonder. Today we're finishing up a handrail that I fabricated a few days ago, but instead of painting it, I'm going to powder coat it. I'm going to use the DIY powder coating oven that I built about 10 years ago and a powder coating gun that I designed and 3D printed by myself with no electricity. Yep, this gun works just by physics. I built this oven about 10 years ago because commercial ovens were way out of my budget. And honestly, I wanted to see if I could make one myself. It's basically a big insulated box with two 3000 watt heating elements in the bottom. Let's take a look inside. No fancy fan, just radiant heating and a heat shield. The heat rises up. The inside is about 38 by 38 and about 50 inches tall. There's plenty of room for small to medium projects inside, like this handrail and like that motorcycle frame under that cover. The best part is it's still going strong after about 10 years or a decade. Now this is a part I'm really proud of. This is the homemade powder coating gun. The entire body is 3D printed with a little piece of PVC conduit for the tube. And instead of using a high voltage power supply, like most commercial guns, this uses the triboelectric effect. The polyester powder rubs against the Teflon tape as it flows through this labyrinth, and that static charge makes its way onto the powder, and it clings to the grounded part. So the only thing this setup needs, electrically, is a ground clamp. No wires, no high voltage box, just compressed air, Teflon, and physics. Why did I build it? Well, partially to save money, and I love the challenge of designing and building something myself. It works just as well as the commercial gun that I bought years ago, and it's really simple. I could scale this, multiply it, have one gun for every color, and make my process very efficient. This thing has been surprisingly reliable and gives a good finish. We'll see how it comes out after. And surface prep is key for powder coating. I cleaned this rail and scuffed the surface. I wiped it all down to make sure it's oil-free. Any shortcuts here will surely ruin the finish, and you'll get bubbles and fish eyes. Next, we'll be applying the powder, grounding the part, and putting it in the oven. So the part is cleaned now and grounded and ready for powder coating. The powder is going to flow from the cup, charges as it rubs across the Teflon, and then it's going to stick to this handrail. I'm going with a matte black finish, which is pretty common for handrails. I'm going to spray in smooth, even passes until the coverage looks like a soft matte fuzz. That's how I'll know that it's ready to go in the oven. So it was difficult to take a video while I was powder coating, but this whole part is coated and it's got that fuzzy finish that I'm looking for. I used a flashlight to check every square inch to make sure that I've got good coverage so there's no surprises when it comes out of the oven. Next step, in it goes. So you can see through the Pyrex window that the part is inside the oven. The temperature is set to 204 degrees Celsius, which is approximately 400 degrees Fahrenheit. When I opened the door, I lost some heat, so now I'm waiting for the oven to recover. A good rule of thumb with the powder that I'm using is when it starts to flow out and have a shiny, wet texture, that's when you start the timer. This powder needs about 20 minutes to cure, and it's got a good amount of overbake protection. Let's see how it looks. So it's still got a dull finish. It means it hasn't started flowing out yet. We'll check back in a minute. So the powder started to lose that fuzzy appearance, which means I'm going to start the timer now. This is a satin black, so it's not actually going to get glossy. Let's check that part surface temperature. Pretty consistent with the set point of the oven. Few degrees off. I'm happy with that. Couple more minutes and out it comes. So the part is done and ready to come out of the oven. Let's take a look and see how it is. Smooth, even, durable finish. It's going to hold up well in the Canadian winters. While we wait for the handrail to cool, some details about the oven. So my father and I built this oven about 10 years ago. It's made out of steel stud construction that you would get at your local big box store. The sheet metal came from a local sheet metal supplier. It's 22 gauge galvanized sheet metal. The door seal is a fiberglass rope seal from McMaster Carr. This is the control thermocouple. So this tells the temperature controller what the temperature inside the oven is. At the bottom, I have two 3000 watt broiler elements. So I've got 6000 watts total heat. This heat shield I added after a few test runs when I noticed that I was burning the powder on the bottom due to the radiant heat from the heating elements. So this protects the part from the radiant heat and allows a little bit of convection to happen. I don't have a recirculation fan in this oven. It really isn't needed for an oven of this size. And in the back I've got a oven light bulb so I can see what's going on. And I created this track system so I could roll the parts in, but I've never really used it. This is a window to let me see what's happening. It's just a Pyrex casserole dish. And the idea was I was going to put some tempered glass on the outside to insulate it. But I've got enough power that it's really not an issue. And then on the control side, I've got a 30 amp disconnect. And then I've got my PID temperature controller. So this guy modulates the temperature and direct to the heating elements with solid state relays. So the thermocouple tells it what the temperature is, and then the controller turns on and off the elements, kind of pulses them to reach the temperature and not overshoot. So that's the oven. It runs on 220 volt power. I've got my generator extension cord plugged in to my wall over here where I've got 40 amp service. So that's the project tonight. A handrail powder coated using a decade-old do-it-yourself oven, a 3D printed gun that runs with no electricity, and building these tools has just been so rewarding. Same as finishing the projects using them. If you've enjoyed this one, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments if there's more information you'd like to know, learn a little bit about powder coating, or what else goes on in the Wrench and Wonder Garage. Until next time, keep wrenching and keep wondering. Have a good night.